Guys, how's it going? I'm here to do your reading for October 6th to the 12th. This is the chart of the moment, and as you can see, the moon has just passed Pluto, so you might have had some intense energy this morning, but that will be breaking. Now, this week, the big news is that Venus will move into Scorpio on the 8th. And before that, the sun here at 12 Libra will square the nodes and Saturn on Monday and Tuesday. So this may be a choice that you have to figure out if there's something in the past you want to go back to. It depends on where your Capricorn house is. So if it's in the 10th house, you may get an offer to go back to a business or a job that you had before, and it will be up to you to choose to do that again or to move forward. This past job, because Saturn is on the south node, is going to be challenging. Doesn't necessarily mean that the north node will be any easier. So it's kind of like rock in a hard place, but you will be asked to make a choice there on Monday or Tuesday. Then when Venus moves into Scorpio, pay attention to how your vitality levels change, because that will give you an idea also of the energy that's coming up. Now, Mars has just moved into Libra. So for us, we should have like a couple of days of quote unquote relaxation. This Mars in Virgo energy would have made us very, very busy bees. Now, the chart is a splay, as I said last time. You see how there's planets all over the place. There's only 3 signs, I think, that are currently without anybody. No, 4, because we have Virgo, Leo, Gemini, and Aquarius that aren't seeing any activity, but all the others are activated. So that means there's sort of lots of different stories going on. And as you can see, there's planets at 1 all the way to 27. So there's kind of always something being activated. So when Venus moves into Scorpio on Wednesday, pay attention to how your thought processes change, how your feelings change, how things may suddenly become a little bit more intense. Why? Because Venus is ruling the Sun and Mars right now, as well as Uranus, because he's in Taurus. And when she moves into Scorpio, all these planets are going to be responding to her, which is responding to Pluto, which is responding to Saturn in Capricorn. So the dispositor for a lot of the planets right now is this Saturn in Capricorn, which actually feeds into sort of my message about today, because what I've been noticing a lot is blocks, right? But before I get to that, I'll talk about that in the cards in a second. When Venus comes into Scorpio, she's going to oppose, as you see, Mercury is about to oppose Uranus tomorrow, and then Venus will oppose Uranus on the 12th. So that's next Friday. This is a challenging aspect. Now, the first, you'll get clues about what it is when Mercury opposes Uranus. There's something, he's trying to blow up a sense of false security that you have right now. And it's in your thinking originally. It's like what you're thinking about. And then when Venus steps into here, it's really going to be about your desires, like what you ultimately desire. Now, as I said, all of these planets disposit to this Saturn. So the answer is going to be, in all cases, both in your thinking and also in your desires. And then as this moves in, your vitality, your way of going about to get it, the answer is always going to be Saturn in Capricorn, which means that whatever offers the longest, a long-term stability, something that you can count on over time, that can be built on in a healthy way as a proper cornerstone, that is the answer to all of the challenges and or blocks that you're facing. So if this situation here brings some kind of little blow up, If this situation here brings some, not even a blow, it's more like a face off, right? Just like a tug of war in between two things. What do I want? Well, no, that's not bringing me happiness anymore, but I really want this. The answer to everything lies in this Saturn, which is about moving out of the South Node and moving into creating very solid long-term structures for the future. So whatever gives you that answer, is this something that's going to be around in 10 years from now or in 5 years from now? That's the right answer. Now let's take a look at the cards. Hey everybody, I'm here to do the reading for October 6th to the 12th for Aries. I'm going to do what I did last week and put 3 cards here. Instead of the spirit animals, I'm going to do messages from your Lightkeeper. So I'll do that first, and then I only have one crystal out today. Actually, I'll start telling you this story, and it's sodalite. And while I was doing yoga the other day, every now and then I'll get these like enormous, like really strong waves of color. And I got a really deep blue indigo. Now this morning when I was thinking about the reading, and I'm going to start shuffling here for the 3 cards. I'll only take cards that show up face down. When I was thinking about the reading this morning, I always pay attention to the situations that are going on around and also the conversations that I've had with people. And what kept coming up was like blocks, knots, clogs. And I also felt really strongly this morning about people suffering from creative blocks. And sodalite is actually known as the poet's stone. And it's very powerful for people. It's for writers, actually. So if anyone is experiencing writer's block or creative blocks, this is a great stone. But since I was talking about those blocks, it was sitting on my nightstand. My housekeeper found it yesterday. And so that's why it's the only one here. We'll talk about blocks a little bit more. And it's funny. I literally in my notes said something you're trying to achieve, writing, creative, financial relationships. So for those of you who are having creative blocks, I have a feeling that there's a message for you in here. Now, let's start with, may I have one card for this stone, please? One card for the people that choose that stone on my left. One card, please, for that stone. Now, same as last week. You can pick yours and I'll read it at the end. I'm also going to do this week, which I'd like to use because I have so many decks I never get to use. So I'm going to do, if you're facing different kind of blocks, what the message is and the advice. So something really focused on people that are feeling blocked. Because I think that's, like I said, the dispositor for everything is, face up. The dispositor Saturn. So we're ready to move forward, but there's something big, like a big cornerstone decision that has to be made that we're still trying to figure out. And it's like, that's kind of what the energy is right now. Is like, I mentioned there was a wait and see situation or like something to discover more. May I have a card for this stone, please? And that's kind of what's happening. It's like untangling the thought threads right now of what's the best thing to do for the future. So Saturn is making you think about what's the most long-term solution to whatever it is you want to achieve. It can be health, it can be writing, it can be creative, it can be a relationship. It's anything that you're trying, I'll take that one. Anything that you're trying to move forward, that you've decided you're ready to move forward with, you still can't because there's like one situation that you have to unthread. And it may be a question of trial and error, like what would happen if I do this? Can I have a card for this stone, please? What would happen if I did that? So some A/B testing or some hypothesis. It's part of the process. So it's not an actual block so much as it is a structural necessity, you know. I'll take that one. So what's happening, even though you may not necessarily feel like you're moving forward as quickly as you'd like, which is something that we did talk about, that even though Saturn is direct, it's still not moving as fast as possible, because there is this one issue that needs to be unthreaded, much like when necklaces get all tangled up, you know, in order to, you have one in particular that you want to use, which is why you've attacked that set of knots. And so it's about unthreading, like, where did they get entangled? What would be the best way to pull this out? You know, so that's kind of the process that's going on right now. And it can be exhausting. But let's see, let's get the energy, please, for Aries for the week of October 6th, 2019. Okay. Right. So don't freak out, even though that may be the energy. That's funny. I like literally just said that. Let's get the wisdom. What's the message for the week for Aries, week of October 6th? I'll take that one. Oh gosh, that came up last week as in the reverse, and this week it's in the positive. So that's interesting. So something's moving, right? However, and that may be the shift of Mars into Venus, like, okay, just enjoy, like, take some time to enjoy yourself, that life is very good, instead of getting into this state, even though, oh, remember how I said, like, the untangling, how all these things, it can feel like there's so many threads going around that you don't know where to pull at them, and it may be making you crazy, right? And it's all coming from this earth that's like in the womb, right? That you're trying to bloom, to blossom, to get to grow into something that is a milk and honey situation. And so this may be the energy that's coming up, but it's not, as I said, if you move into that Saturn space, very slow, very logistical, very, okay, what happens if I pull at this thread? What happens if I pull at that thread? Instead of like, oh my God, there's 3 giant necklaces and they're all entangled and I'm never going to get this undone. So kind of just to face your choices or your options and your thinking with a very different energy. Okay. So this is the energy that may come up, but this is the wisdom, you know, so to get into a space where actually we're quite lucky to be, I mean, you know, that thing's blooming pretty nicely. So we're in a very lucky space of abundance. It may not feel like it because it's messy, but it's still a good space. Now let's get the challenge. Can I get the challenge for Aries for the week of October 6th? What's the challenge for Aries, week of October 6th? And I'll do a full moon reading apart because that's a big one, I think. So this only goes up to the 12th. October 6th, there we go. Okay. 9 of Pentacles. So, you know, it's all about blooming and abundance, ripeness. And the challenge is perhaps recognizing or realizing, you know, that you may want it here and it's still at an embryonic stage, but it is there. And in order to get this to grow into a very ripe fruit, there is a process that needs to happen. So you may feel like it's not happening fast enough, or like the actual process of dealing with this thing that makes you feel like this, ripe and full of life's beauty and glory of milk and honey, that the process is making you crazy, and there's no need to, because you're in a good spot. Now let's get the story here. Can I get 3 cards, please? Okay. So 6 of Swords. So definitely some movement forward. 2 more cards, please. For Aries, week of October 6th. 2 more cards for Aries, week of October 6th. Ten of Pentacles. Nice. Right smack in the middle. And it's interesting because everything has kind of like a bluish hue to it. And here's this really bright golden card. So, you know, like I said, the riches are there. Let's be careful of falling into this place because it's not, it's in the mind, you know, and that Mercury and Scorpio may be playing tricks. Things may not seem, they may seem more tangled than they are. Or maybe there's just a lot to do. So, you know, it's overwhelming. But this kind of also just like, you know, one at a time. You see that one thing is falling off. And it's interesting because here we have the Nine of Pentacles and here's the Ten of Pentacles. So there's definite growth, right? And you may be worried about this, but the cards are actually saying that you have more, right? So even though you think you're not progressing or you're not at the point that you would like to be at, you're actually looks like in a better place than you imagine. Interesting also, 6 opposite of 9. This is a 6. So, you know, things may not be as they seem. And going off that, what I said, that reading last week, is that there is definitely something that needs investigation. And that's what all those threads are. But it can be approached from a different perspective. You know, one more card, please, for Aries. Week of October 6th. Aries week of October 6th, 2019. One more card, please. You are moving forward. Yeah, 7 of Pentacles. So it's just a question of time and patience and getting from the 7 to the 10, right? So it's here. And you see it's like there's like that little Tinkerbell thing. And here you have the birds bringing information. So the information is coming to you, and that will definitely come from this Mercury and Scorpio. I think what you want to be careful of is falling into this space. Like, let this watch the information that comes to you, that you're gathering as you're trying to untangle these threads in this respect and not in this respect, right? Stay in that very calm, centered, it's definitely coming to me energy, as opposed to, oh my God, this is making me crazy. I don't even know what to do. Like, is this even growing? Is this vine going to die? Blah, 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 blah. It's awesome, actually. It takes a little bit of movement because you're still at the 6 of Swords, you know, so it's moving towards new shores. You're not there yet. It's going to take a little bit more information, more patience, more growth to get from the 7 to the 10. But 7, 9, 10, definitely here, you know, milk and honey. Just have to watch this. Now, the question is that there's this block here. So hopefully there'll be some advice in there. I want to get, and then as I said, I'll do this reading, focusing only on the blocks in a couple of days. In the meantime, let's get some advice. What's the advice, please, for Aries week of October 6th? Oh, it's week of October 6th. 6-6, huh? That's funny. 6, 7, 9, 10. So this looks like a really interesting week. You know, there's like something happening every day. Just be careful because that Uranus, the opposite with the Uranus and the square with Saturn, can cause some stressful thinking. Stay here. Always get back to this space. Just remember that you're building 10 Pentacles. And remember that they're still right here smack in the middle of the reading. Even though you may feel like you're at the 6 and the 7, that actually, or even at nothing, it's growing. It's right there. Give it the time. Sort these threads one at a time. Pick the fruit one at a time. It doesn't all have to, you don't have to do everything at one time. Make one important decision at a time. Okay, sorry. Advice, please, for Aries week of October 6th. Advice for Aries week of October 6th. Laugh at your demons. Okay, so that's interesting. And keep your commitments. And that's, you see the 51 there? So yes, so like I said, this is very Saturnian, right? And that's kind of what I said in the astrology part of it. As long as this is very Saturnian also, this 10 of Pentacles, right? It's as earthly as you can get on the material plane. This is after this you move into the court cards or into the major arcana. So this is as far as like the human experience, the 10 of Pentacles is the most material manifestation you can have. So as long as you stay in this very Saturnian energy, which is calm, collected. You see that wolf, which came up last week, that was that instinct. So you're following your instincts. Look at how calm he is, nothing is going to phase this person. Anytime you kind of get out of sorts, if you feel yourself slipping into here, you want to laugh at your demons, which makes them go away. They don't have power over your thoughts if you do. And this is very important when this stuff goes into Scorpio, right? Because that can unearth some weird stuff. And then you want to keep your commitments, but what are the commitments that you're making? That's really what this card is about, right? Stick with whatever decision, whatever leads you towards the greatest probability for long-term development, solid development. That is the path forward. Okay. Now let's read these cards. I will start with this one because I think on the screen this comes normally. So let's start with this one. If you picked this card, your message from your Lightkeeper is hope. Love and acceptance. Love is yours. Recognize your divine worth. Choose loving thoughts. Now let me read this to you from the book. That's a nice one with that bright yellow there. So hope is an angel who is dedicated to promoting the idea that we on earth are loved, cherished, and supported by the kingdom of heaven. She is all about helping us see the light beyond whatever darkness we are in. Traveling as part of a holy trinity, faith, hope, and charity. She helps us recognize that hope isn't about wishing for something good to happen or help to arrive, but trusting that support is already present. She has a gentle presence, she's the twin flame of Archangel Gabriel. She has a gentle presence, but she's absolutely glorious. She sings sweet harmonies to us, and these songs are waves of love, washing away anything that stands between us and love and self-acceptance. The extended message is that angels are gathering around you in celebration that you are finally willing to see how loving and lovable you are. Hope is here with her legion of love angels, guiding you to see that you deserve loving relationships, loving experiences, and loving acceptance from the world around you. It seems that you are really moving beyond the limitations that you once had in this department. But know that whenever you do question your worth, you can call on hope to shine her golden light upon you. Your angels want you to know that they love and cherish you, and they're grateful that you're giving yourself the same support. How lovely. All right, let's move to the next card. I'll put that there. Let's reveal. I can't even pronounce that, sorry. Melchizedek is higher learning. You have learned from experience. More inner study is now required to further progress. Let's read that one. Okay, so here you see, so it's not just me, it says pronounced right there. Pronounced Melchizedek, okay, is a high priest who's mentioned in the Bible's book of Genesis and many other sources too. He is here to assist the earth through the ascension process, which is basically moving everyone and everything back to a state of love and harmony. He appears with bright light around him and a long white beard to match his ancient high priest ways, and is said to have his own order of light-filled priests who are able to help spiritual people develop their gifts and qualities. As he works on a high energetic level, we can connect with him through sacred geometry and by focusing on ancient star-shaped symbols. Interesting. The extended message is that you have learned so much to this point and are learning more every day. You are recognizing all the great lessons your experiences and challenges have brought to you and are preparing for a transition or inner ascension where you will move beyond another level of fear and into the inner sanctum of your heart and soul. Become aware of patterns, ancient symbols, and signs being sent to you from the universe. There's a sense that you are now able to focus in a new way and offer greater light to the world. Melchizedek and his order are with you now, leading you towards spiritual wisdom. Meditate and connect with their light. Okay, let's do the last one. Lord Ganesh, infinite abundance. Obstacles are being removed. Interesting. Spiritual support and connections are increasing. Okay, so that kind of goes with the reading. Let's see, Lord Ganesh. Sorry. Okay. Ganesh is the Hindu elephant-headed god. There's the elephant in the abundance. The son of Lord Shiva and the goddess Parvati. Legend says he received his elephant head as a replacement after his father sliced his human one off when he mistook him for an intruder. Ganesh is acknowledged as Lord who removes obstacles and is much loved by taxi drivers in India because they believe he helps them weave in and out of the crazy traffic. Ganesh is a sweet-toothed, life-loving, joyful, dancing, and very approachable god. He will use his light to weave a perfect path for you, which is interesting because we were talking about like the tangles and stuff like that. It's important at this time to move beyond the limitations of it's not meant to be and focus on, if this is for my highest good, then the universe will take me there safely. Ganesh is not only bringing a clear light to your external situation, but also helping you clear up any inner conflicts. This is very much what we were talking about. When obstacles arise, know that they are just reminders that you care about your path and that you have the ability to change your current situation. Ganesh is here to help you. Thank him for clearing the way. Okay, and there's a chant here in Sanskrit, but I wouldn't want to ruin it, so I'm going to show you the words. Let me see. I'll write it down. So for anyone who picked this card, look down in the description box and I'll write whatever that is. Okay, so that is the energy for the week. Hope this was helpful. Make friends with the Saturn energy because he's the one, this is where you want to be this week. Calm, collected, feeling abundant, trusting your instincts, knowing that it's coming to you. Okay, this is your space. And then all decisions made from this place and not from this place. Okay? Have a great week, and I will see you midweek with that blocks reading that I said. And then again next weekend for the full moon. Take care.